I'm just going to welcome everyone. We are going on Substack Live, and today our topic is faith, evidence of God's love. And so I have invited business coaches and entrepreneurs and speakers and coaches and those professionals that have been very successful that you just assume, okay, they just got it all together. And a lot of people tend to look at the tools or, how did they get there? But a lot of times, and, I'm having Joan share, there's so much more that you don't see. So this is an invitation to come and listen to what's beneath it all. So I'm introducing you to Joan Rudder Ward, and she is a creative restorative coach. She has award-winning she's award-winning visual media specialist and a host of the television program called Silver Sage. She has had the power of photography and storytelling that she has used to help people see themselves and their lives in a more positive, inspiring light. And then she is someone known to, help people just get out of the box, which is one of our specialties of Memorable Connections. So today, though, we are focusing on faith, faith and evidence of God's love. So right now, we're going to just have Joan share, and we're. Do you have anything else to say about what you're doing right now? And also, what I want you to share is your turning point. When did you receive Christ? What did that mean to you? How did you grow your faith? There's a lot of people that become Christians, but then what? So go ahead.
Let's see, when did I receive Christ? When I was 6 years old.
Wow.
So, but just as you said, the Christian walk, it's we are ever increasing in faith and in our walk. It's not like oh, I'm a Christian and that's it. There's so much more to learn and continue learning. And personally, I believe when we're here on this earth, we just barely scratch the surface of what it is to serve God or what it is to know God. So it's an ever continuing journey.
Mhm.
And along this journey, there will be several turning points. There may be a turning point every year because we're learning, continuing to learn. And God is so big that we can never learn everything. And so we come into learning new things as we're going along.
Now, you mentioned
So,
you became a Christian when you were 6. Was that through Sunday school? Was that through family?
oh,
What?
okay. My, it was through family. My mom, sometimes I joke and say, well, I was a Christian before I was born because I was in the church then. I've always been in the church, but it was through family. My mom, made sure we were always in church. She was very active in church. She sung in the choir. She was a good news club teacher, teaching children at church and then also at home having good news club. So
Ah,
so even as a young child, I seemed to have a real awareness of the spiritual
mm,
side of things. And so,
wow. And look at that,
but even
6. And the Good News Clubs has been around for years and years, and
mhm,
it makes in people's lives and these children that otherwise wouldn't hear anything about God. I
right. Right.
I
Yeah.
mean,
I even I started teaching Good News Club myself when I was probably a teenager.
mm,
So, but the thing too is always had like a spiritual sensitivity. But the thing was when you're sensitive to spiritual sensitivity things, that goes both sides. So even when I was younger, say like I was a teenager, I looked a lot, I looked into like witchcraft because it was spiritual as well. And my mom had even at one time, not knowing better, she got us a Ouija board because it was
Yeah,
billed as a game.
right.
And so I could find out even through the Ouija board the spiritual sensitivity that I had then. But didn't know at that time that was the dark side.
Mm.
So
What we learn. Yes, actually, I received one as a gift too, and
okay.
it's interesting, but, you know, the Spirit, like you said, of
Yeah.
the Lord, the Holy Spirit will let you know.
Yeah, eventually. But at
Yeah,
first we didn't know,
no.
it was just like, oh, okay, this is a spiritual thing. But even in today's world, we can see people where they mix spiritual things with the things of God with the things of the enemy. And because they're even like coming from family in the South, there's places that mix voodoo with Christianity or with the things of God, and they're just saying everything is spiritual, which it is, but there's two sides to the spirit realm. So
Mm, very important point,
yes.
and it's nothing to play with either.
No, no,
Yeah.
trust me, it isn't because I've had um some bad experiences as far as that before I really came in to know, oh no, you don't do that. You don't play with that. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Very good. So, how did you, knowing what you're doing now, you're a TV producer, you've
Hmm.
helped with the for a lot of you do a lot of community work too, and
Hmm.
you were serving like for women and girls self esteem. Um, Speak a little about that and how you see God working through you to reach them and help them through what you do.
Okay. Okay. Well, I started my visual communications company in 1985. So I had a studio for a outside studio for a number of years. And so like in the 90s, okay, one thing that used to always puzzle me, or I'm like, okay, I had daughters, and with girls, it seems like I was always looking for some type of community activity, but at that time, I wanted something beyond Girl Scouts and sports. So I'm like, how come there aren't more community programs and things for girls? So this is back in the 90s. So then when I had this studio back in the 90s, I was one thing I did a lot of was senior portraits. So high school seniors coming in for pictures. And I noticed then, because my kids weren't at that age yet where they were into high school, but it was like girls just seemed so picky about themselves and they just were never satisfied, it seems, with how they looked. I had a girl that came in. This girl was beautiful. I had an ambassador program, so that's when they would come in. Well, you would have students, they get a free photo session, and then they would go out and be an ambassador for the studio. So this young lady came in. She was beautiful, every hair in place. She was the blonde hair, I mean, her skin was she was just gorgeous. So she came in for her photo session, and after I got her pictures back, now we didn't have digital then, so we had to send our
Mm.
things off to the lab and wait for them to come back. I was like, oh my goodness, her pictures are just so beautiful. And she just looks so good. And I was just like really excited
So
for her to be an
excited.
ambassador. Yeah, I was like, oh, okay. But when she came in and she looked through the picture, her mom came in with her. She didn't like any of them. And she was just not satisfied with any of them. She didn't pick anything.
Oh.
And, as they were leaving, her mom was just said, don't feel bad. This is just the way she is. She just is so hypersensitive about how she looked. She just was not satisfied with how she looked. So
Hmm.
that just really puzzled me. And it got me researching more. It's like, what's up? And a friend of mine recommended a book to me. It's called Reviving Ophelia by Mary Piper. She was a psychologist. She probably still is. But what this book explained was how our society, she called it a girl poisoning society
Mm.
because it focused so much on looks. If you remember during that time, we started having issues with eating disorders like bulimia and things like that. So she was talking about how the advertising and everything like geared towards girls and women, you had to look a certain way or you had to have a certain look in order to be acceptable. And then after I started looking into that more, then I could see that. And so this was before social media. This was like the magazine advertising, the TV commercials. You always had these thin people that looked a certain way. And so I really started researching that. And I even got my master's degree in marketing, but it's marketing to change social behavior. It's to get people to buy into, change for themselves. And so that was really an eye opener for me to see how things were constructed to actually, which was detrimental to girls' self esteem, women
Mhm.
self esteem, and how they felt about themselves, how we feel about ourselves. So I just noticed that even more and more, like when these girls would come in, there was always something that they didn't like about themselves. And then when I started doing workshops with the youth, and I would ask, okay, so what is it you don't like about yourself? And so they would answer, and most of the time it was something you could do nothing about. Like, I don't like how tall I am, or I don't like this about myself. And it was like, but that's how you're made. It wasn't like, oh, my teeth are crooked. Okay, well, you can go to the dentist and get that fixed. But
Mhm.
there's nothing we can do about genetic things. And so it got to the point where it was like, you know what? You need to learn to be comfortable in your own genes, in your genetic makeup. So that's how it got started. And just using photography to help them get a different picture of themselves and incorporating techniques that are used in phototherapy and other phototherapy and other like workshops and things that I took too. How do we learn to just love ourselves the way we are?
Yeah. So much energy goes into trying to be someone else or doing something like someone else. And it's the same in the business world too. It's like we keep going and looking in different lanes. But,
Right.
you know,
Right. Right. And you know what? And I did one question I would ask. I would say, how much money would you have if you didn't spend money on trying to change the way you look or thinking something that, you're trying to change the way you look? And they would be, "Oh my goodness, I'd have a lot of money." So, it's like, how much time and money are you spending instead of just enhancing who you are, making who you are better,
mhm.
but trying to look like somebody else or change this, or let me change that, or what if I got my lips injected with this or so
So much, yeah, so much
yeah.
energy and focus on that. Instead of focusing on their strength and their gifts that they have. And both you and I, we've done those personality
Oh
assessments
yeah.
and tools to help them to recognize those strengths that they have and
Right.
focus on what more you can be. With-
Right. Right. And okay, and so with social media today, it's even worse because they're comparing themselves to something that a lot of times it doesn't even exist.
yeah.
And so had a program I started last year. It's called Let's Reframe Beauty. And
Mm,
so it was like, okay, who gets to decide what the beauty standards are anyway? Who gets to decide, and then you're following that. So I would have them focus. Okay, let's talk about what's beautiful about you. What's beautiful about your culture, your family, things that
Mm.
where's the beauty in that? It's
That's another point too, the family, your heritage,
Mhm.
your family's like the generations, and we've talked about that too, and that is, God showing how each of us are placed on this earth at this time with the family that we're given, with the
Right.
nationality that we are.
Yes.
It's just so, yeah. So, anyways, wrapping it up a little bit, what do you have a certain message that you'd like to tell someone that might be listening in? They may or may not know the Lord, but through your experiences, you know what people need to hear.
Right. Okay. A message I would say is, God created you with everything about you. There's no mistake about where you're born, the time you were born, the family you were born in. He has a purpose for you here with the gifts and talents that he has put in you. So the thing is, find out what those are, and you build on those things. Like you said, find out what are your strengths. What is it that God has given you? Because you have a special place and something special to do here. And because he's put you here for that. And there's no mistakes. Even if you're like, well, my parents weren't expecting me, and I was a mistake. Hey, that my parents weren't expecting me. So then and that's another story, it's my parents weren't expecting me. I came from one of those relationships that probably shouldn't have even been, but I I have purpose, I have destiny, there's a reason I'm here, and I'm using that to the fullest that I can, and even letting God even show me more and more what he has for me, because we are infinite beings and we have eternity within us. That's the way God designed us. And so there's always things, no matter what age or stage you are in life, there are always things that you can discover about yourself. You have things in you that that you, as you live, you discover more. I mean, I'll just say one more thing here. Just look at like Grandma Moses. Now, if you know who Grandma Moses is, the famous painter, and she's famous. She was even on a postage stamp, and she didn't start painting until she was in her mid 70s. And before she died, she created over 1,600 paintings. All right, but that gift came out later in life, and so you're never too old to start something new or try something new, because you never know where it's going to take you, as long as it's nothing illegal or
True.
harmful.
Yeah.
Nothing harmful or illegal, but you have gifts yet to be you have yet to discover.
That's for sure. What a great wrap up. And if anyone wants to connect with Joan, she is on Substack, and also you can reach out to me, memorable-connections.com. And yes, well, thank you for tuning in, whether you're here
Yeah,
live or watching the recording. But we're here to help elevate you and to help
yeah,
you connect with Jesus.
that's
So
right. Yes.
thank you again for joining us, and we'll see you in the next interview.
Okay. It's great being here.
All right.
Blessings to all of you out there.
Thank you.
Okay.